Hi everyone, this is Mark Nisly. I will be sharing a presentation on coaching, discipline, and terminating staff. This presentation is primarily addressed to nurse managers but is applicable to staff nurses and really any manager or employee. The process of providing feedback and discipline to your employees is a key task of nursing managers. It is a fact of life for any supervisor. Sullivan asserted that ignoring these aspects of managerial responsibility, while tempting, especially for newer managers, in the end, creates more problems than it solves. Performance review is a crucial task for keeping a unit running smoothly and safe and effective patient care. It may be helpful to picture these four action words as a continuum in which a manager engages staff. Feedback and coaching are very similar terms in which the manager engages the employee in performance improvement. Feedback focuses more on correcting previous behaviors, while coaching is more forward-looking, for example, preparing for career advancement. Table 21 on page 299 of the text summarizes these differences well. Probably the more effective the manager is, the more likely it is that interactions can stay toward the left side of the continuum. Discipline and termination represent failure at arresting undesirable behaviors in the proactive and early stages of mentoring staff. Using these definitions, coaching is also the only positive task on this list, but more on that later. I'll talk about coaching first. As previously defined, coaching is more forward-looking. In other words, how can you, as a manager, help your staff member advance their skills and career? This presentation overall focuses on less enjoyable tasks, but coaching is actually one portion that is very positive. Co and you offer this definition of coaching. Coaching is an interactive and interpersonal process that supports personal, professional, and career development through the acquisition of appropriate skills, actions, and abilities considered crucial to one's professional conduct. Another reason to discuss feedback and coaching is that it is a key behavior to create a culture of safety. Coe and Yu asserted that the culture of safety in a healthcare setting begins with the leadership. Further, they found from their study that actively promoting the use of coaching by healthcare managers is a necessary strategy to develop human resource management in nursing and a positive patient safety culture. So managers who are coaching and their feedback behaviors are crucial to promoting a safety culture. One more quote here from Zabriskie. Few activities build engagement as well as a manager genuinely caring about people and promoting their success. So coaching can build engagement as well. Alright, so how do you go about practicing coaching? Sullivan says that coaching is an interactive process and it requires the coachee to be ready, willing, and able. You can also think of it as being more of an unlocking of an employee's potential to learn or improve their performance rather than teaching them. The statement I just read by Sullivan is underpinned by the concepts of andragogy, in other words, theory of adult learning. The manager must be able to apply these principles to be an effective performance coach. Cox summarized andragogy with the following points. Adults are self-directed. They have an abundance of prior life and work experience. They learn when they are ready and when they have a need to learn. Adults are mostly internally motivated. So an understanding of adult learning theory is crucial for any manager who's providing coaching. All right, switch it up here and talk about how to provide feedback. Again, this is very similar to coaching, but tends to be maybe a little bit more negative as providing feedback for past events rather than forward-looking. Here are a few tips by Sullivan. First of all, focus on why something happened, not just what happened. Sullivan calls this peeling the onion. Lloyd provides a few other tips, for example, telling the person immediately. Don't wait until their yearly performance review to give them feedback. Try to use objective descriptions. Only describe behaviors you can see and don't extrapolate too far. You can be specific and use examples. Next, we have discipline and termination. Discipline is the next step when coaching and feedback have failed. When a manager needs to address a problem with a direct report's actions or behavior. Sullivan lists several characteristics of correctly performed discipline. First of all, like I said, is calling attention to a problem. You also need to provide solutions, how to fix it. That can be in conjunction with input from your uh, your direct report. Secondly, make sure you follow up. Don't just like throw out your discipline and then never follow up again. It's important to distinguish that discipline is a consequence, not a punishment. Don't treat it like that. That's part of our just culture. It's very important to be consistent in your discipline between all members of your team. Don't discipline only the ones you don't like. Discipline and corrective action is necessary to keep your team running smoothly, to maintain good morale. Discipline is also progressive. Usually it starts with like a verbal warning and then progresses on and up as far as termination if need be. And then also discipline is highly defined by organizational policies. So this is very crucial that you're following your human resources policies for how to provide discipline. In the unfortunate event that none of your other interventions work, you may need to consider termination. This is the process of ending employment. There are significant emotional, financial, and legal consequences for all parties when they are terminated. It is important to consider if the manager provided timely and consistent feedback and follow-up in the past before you consider termination. This is the legal and ethical thing to do, and you could have possibly prevented the termination. It's imperative that consistency of consequences and following organizational policies were followed. Lastly, I want to leave a link here by Marshall Goldsmith reviewing some pointers for effective coaching. I'll see if I can figure out a way to share the link so you can click it. Thanks again for listening. I hope you enjoyed this and learned something useful. Here are my references.